Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you fresh out of the gym on my way to work today. Yesterday, they debuted the UFC CM Punk documentary, Day in the Life, following CM Punk and his travels in order to fight Mickey Gall at UFC. I believe it's 202 or 202, whatever you want to call it. I think that's where the fight's going down. A lot of people have a lot of hype for CM Punk making the jump from WWE to UFC. Honestly, in my mind, I know that CM Punk quit WWE the day after the Royal Rumble, the night of Monday Night Raw, before WrestleMania 30. We're after WrestleMania 32. I know that he made his announcement around Christmas that year that he would be joining UFC and he would start training. And that is sort of where they picked this up. But honestly, in my mind, 2 years out of WWE, I know that he's been training, he's been doing camps, he's been having, fights and things like that in his training. But honestly, when it comes down to it, I know this whole time I've been saying that once CM Punk finally steps into a UFC octagon and he gets in there and it's time to go, I'm going to root for the guy for the same reason that when Brock Lesnar gets in the octagon, I want to see Brock Lesnar win, because there's a lot of wrestling fans that are UFC fans, and there's a lot of UFC fans that hate wrestling fans just because they think what we watch is fake. They think what we watch is phony. It's scripted. There's nothing to it. When they get in the octagon, those guys they punch each other. They really kick each other. They're really trying to rip each other's arms off and beat the other guy with it. Wrestling, they're told in the back who's going to win, and then they sort of write a match out of the story that they want to tell with the time that they're given. But, Brock Lesnar came from WWE after, his failed football career, and I think he tried boxing, and then wound up, going and doing the fight in LA, getting signed by UFC, having the fight against Frank Mir. And even though the first fight against UFC he lost, you can see that there was a lot of potential with Brock Lesnar in UFC. He really beat the crap out of Frank Mir that whole entire fight until Mir was able to drop down, grab a hold. And Brock, so young in his UFC fighting career, didn't know what to do and tapped out immediately. Now, with CM Punk, we got to hope for this guy to gain success. But from watching this documentary, CM Punk ain't doing what Brock Lesnar did. CM Punk's not going to become UFC champion. CM Punk is already up there in age. He can say whatever he wants to, that, if, UFC or MMA would have been more popular when he was growing up in high school and making the jump into training into professional wrestling, he would have went a different direction and trained for MMA. I think that CM Punk right now is on a Batista-like career move where he's just trying to knock off his dream things. He's done everything in professional wrestling that he wanted to do, other than be main event of WrestleMania. And now he's just trying to knock off things that are cool. He's worked with the Thor comic book company, whichever one that is, Marvel, I think. And, he's done this and that with comic books. Now he actually wants to get in and see what he can actually do inside the octagon and actually fight. I don't think it's going to work out that well for him. We pick up, he's living in Chicago. He's picking his camp. He's going to go train in Milwaukee. He's driving back and forth. It's almost like an episode of WWE Ride Along, where he's talking about the fact that, Chicago to Milwaukee is not exactly a trip to the store to buy a gallon of milk, but, based on the world of professional wrestling where he came from, where the guys nightly are driving from town to town, it's nothing. It's a walk in the park. It's no big deal. I think eventually CM Punk finally, I don't think he sold this place in Chicago, but he buys a place where he lives in Milwaukee, where he's closer to be with his camp. We see him actually get in and actually train with the people that he's training with. We see him getting dropped. We see him trying to do stand-up. We see him, tapping out. And he's only 2 months into his career at this time, but you can tell he better some people get in and they're quick learners and they pick it up and they're naturals and they just get it right off the bat. CM Punk's not that. CM Punk's a fan. CM Punk is a guy who is trying to pick it up as he goes along. I don't know a lot about Mickey Gall. I know that Mickey Gall is a scrapper and a fighter, a guy that is fighting, not even in the minor leagues when he was found by Dana White on that reality show. If it wasn't for CM Punk, I don't think Mickey Gall would be in UFC. I don't think he would have a UFC contract. I think they needed to pick the best, worst guy that they could. Mickey Gall is not exactly the guy that's going out there on Monday Night Raw and fighting Braun Strowman or Mia Jax. This guy's got some skills. I mean, if you put him in there against anyone else in UFC, he's probably not going to be able to win a fight. But there's a great chance that he's going to win this fight. I know that Mickey Gall had the fight against Michael Jackson. Yeah, I said Michael Jackson. But, I don't think anybody was really expecting anything out of that. And it was what it was. People knew that CM Punk was going to fight Mickey Gall. And that was going to do it. But I don't know. I'm guessing that CM Punk is going to have a lot of fans at this fight from the world of professional wrestling. They're going to follow him to UFC. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people, a lot like Roman Reigns fans, that will boo CM Punk when he comes out because of where he came from and not want to get behind him because they don't want to water down UFC, bringing in guys like Kevin James or famous people that are fans that will bring exposure to UFC, but at the same time water it down. CM Punk is not Kevin James, but I think a lot of people will be able to connect what I was talking about. That fucking movie was awesome, though, by the way. But what the hell was that movie called? I don't remember. But Kevin James went from being a teacher to fighting in UFC on pay-per-view in LA at the Staples Center. But we'll see what goes down with this fight. Honestly, in my opinion, I think Punk's going to get tapped out in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get knocked out, but he's definitely going to tap in the first round. And from there, hopefully CM Punk will see the writing on the wall that he just came into a sport, just too old and is not going to be able to keep up. I mean, there's people saying that a lot of guys are coming back to UFC to get the big paydays, from Fight Pass, from the UFC pay-per-views. That it's just been too long, and you can't fight forever. There's always a new crop of guys coming into UFC. They're younger, they're faster, they're stronger, and here's CM Punk at, I think he's 38, trying to have his debut fight. I think he's just gonna get overmatched.